Yeah, back to the matter at hand. In case you're just tuning in, the time is 9:27. 27 minutes past the hour on a beautiful Friday. Let me look out the window here on the fourth floor advantage. A little cloud cover, partly cloudy, but it's okay. We will definitely take it. It is still a beautiful day. All right, this is Stan. We're speaking now again with our special guest, Representative Justin J. Pearson. I know Representative Pearson, are you still there? You still there?
I'm here.
Oh, fantastic. You sounded
yes,
good.
Indeed.
Sounded crystal clear on this big radio station. Well, let's talk now. I know that you have retained a high-powered team of lawyers. You have, as they say, lawyered up. Tell us why. Tell us why.
Yeah, I mean, when you see anti-democratic behavior, unconstitutional behavior, and you understand how the Republican Party in Tennessee up here at the state capitol operates, they create rules that they themselves don't follow, and they make rules for others in order to have us jump through hoops and the like. And so we retained counsel, myself, Representative Jones, in anticipation of potential retaliatory actions by this body, especially by Speaker Cameron Sexton, and we want to protect our communities, the votes that they cast, to prevent further disenfranchisement, further abridging of their rights as well. And so we're grateful to Scott Crosby at Birch, Porter, and Johnson, and also grateful to Attorney General Eric Holder, Attorney General Eric Holder at Covington as well.
Yeah. So they sent a letter, right, to Sexton, if you will, Speaker Sexton, and you were demanding a couple of things. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, one of the things that we demanded, because before we were expelled, our passes into the building were all cut off. We lost access to our parking. We were told we can't access the building. All committee assignments were taken away. And so part of the demands were the restoration of our full rights as members of the Tennessee General Assembly, and making that very clear that that's the expectation, and that anything short of that further reduces the rights and privileges of District 86 and District 52 could be met with legal action.
So, Representative Pearson, so how important is it to have to be included in committee assignments? I heard you mention that, to be included. Not only do we want full rights as any other member, but you want to be included in committee assignments. Talk to me about that.
The way that representatives...
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The way the representatives make their points about different pieces of legislation is in committee meetings and on the House floor.
Right.
If you're not allowed to be in committees, you're not allowed to speak on legislation that is going to have an impact on your district, going to have an impact on your community. And we see, even when the representatives were on committees and you're a Democrat, they will silence debate. And they'll do something called call the question immediately, so that you never talk about bills. You never really talk about legislation, and no one's ever forced to answer hard questions or respond to really valid points that Democratic members might have. That's something that we see way too often up here, because, again, it's the erosion of our democracy that's happening, and it is being ruled as a mob. It is a mobocracy in the Tennessee State General Assembly. And if we do not have people holding those who are in these positions of power accountable, which means us, constituents, supporters, holding them accountable, they'll be able to rule this way without us calling them to the carpet about the behavior. Got it.
So I like what you said, and I will say this, the part about don't quit, we ain't going to quit. And I'm glad that you did stay in, quote unquote, the race, or you stayed in the fight, you stayed in the game. And when you said, I'm not going to quit, we're going to win this thing. And if I think you said, I'm just kind of paraphrasing, just kind of, right here. You said something to the fact, if we never quit, we'll see days of justice spring forth. And you really went on to say, I like your self-confidence, I do. If we never quit, I assure you we will win. What do you really mean by that? Win in the end, or win right now? Win as we go? We will get some things done?
I think it's both and. The governor just signed an executive order strengthening universal background checks as it relates to gun control. The first time that's happened in the history of the state of Tennessee. Governor Bill Lee has also advocated, at least in part, with a statement that something needs to be done about red flag laws. Now we have to turn that into legislation. None of this was happening before you had thousands of people marching on the streets of Nashville and Memphis and Shelby County, advocating for democracy and advocating for the end to the gun violence epidemic. And unfortunately, none of this would have happened without the catalyzing of this conversation after the loss of life because of an AR-15 being killing people at the Nashville Covenant School. And so what I retain is this optimism and this hope that is rooted in faith, right? It's Psalm 27, one of my favorite verses, and there's, I would have fainted had I not believed that I would have seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. It's like we might otherwise faint if we do not hold fast to a belief that there is something else, something better that is possible. They thought they won when they expelled us. Right? But the goodness that we have seen and that we have witnessed is that Shelby County stood up. They thought they had beaten us down, and we, by the thousands, marched from the Civil Rights Museum to the County Commission, rising up. And so that eternal optimism and faith, it is not without the realism that we are in a really difficult time where we have people on the Democratic Party who have been silenced or silently complicit for a very long time because of the environment that the Tennessee Republican Party has created while they've been in power. And now, in this moment in time, with a generation rising up and a generation that's a little older, recognizing that the status quo is not working for everybody and we all have an opportunity to do something, is really encouraging and creating the environment for transformation that we need to have in order to see an end to gun violence, a reduction in poverty, and an end to the war on the poor, and expansion of healthcare, and so many other issues that we know are really important.
All right. So, yeah, I get it. So, Representative Pearson, I'm going to switch gears a little bit now. And I'm going to say this. And I might speak for others. I'm not, or may not. You seem to be very comfortable in your skin. Not only, how I listened to your responses as they were, I'm using this word, railed upon you, if you will, since we're this Easter spirit, Easter season, so to speak. But when you are quick-witted, I will say that. And you I know you hear that in a minute, but I'm saying it. And your rebuttals, man, when they come at you with this adversity, when I say they, I mean, your colleagues at that point, some.
Yeah.
But in particular, your dress, man, I mean, it makes a statement to me. And it shows that, when you wear the dashiki, man, I want you to talk about that, man. And the way you don that, man, it's powerful, man. We typically don't see the dashiki over a suit combo, right? But it seems to me that you are embracing your African heritage by, if you will, donning the dashiki and rocking the afro, man, and all that. I know you get folks saying this, that, and the other, but now you have seemed to gotten people to embrace it, accept it, and it's you, man. Who does that, man? You seem to be you're in your own unique self. You got the dashiki over the suit combo. You rocking the doggone afro, man. I'm just saying, man. But yet you still come across as this man who wants to convey his style unapologetically. I think it's your style, man. And the way you so intelligently come across to others. Talk to me about that.
Well, I appreciate that. And again, an individual is always the culmination of the people who poured into them. And I give glory and honor to God and to my own ancestors, my grandmothers who are no longer with us in body, but always in spirit, and my parents and family, and these church communities that I've been a part of, and people I've connected with that have helped, again, to me to understand in greater depth the importance about being one's authentic self. The reality is, the day we were sworn in the first time, I wore a dashiki, and there was a comment on the House floor about we all need to wear suits and ties here in order to ostracize me, make it feel like we don't belong there.
I can just see them saying we all need to put on a suit and tie, and we don't do that here, and we want you to rethink about your attire, Mr. Pearson.
Exactly.
And you said what? Because you just said you showed them. Yeah, go ahead.
showed and said, look, we just got into the House floor and the white supremacists are already attacking our dress because there are these principles in which this institution is operating to produce results of control, results of dominance and power over other people. And that is ultimately what they have sought to do through a lot of legislation this session, even as it relates to guns, as it relates to transgender youth, as it relates to education. There was a bill that moved forward yesterday about banning the teaching about systemic racism in higher education. And what then is the responsibility of we who are descendants of enslaved African Americans within institutions and within a country that too often does not embrace all of our contributions into building this place into what it is? What is our response? It is to show up as our authentic selves and use the voice that we have, the heritage that we have, and the legacies that we carry to help us to straighten our backs up. And when I wear a dashiki, as I do when I'm on the House floor, it is to both serve as a type of spiritual armor and also as a point of reflection, that to get into this point, into this place, is not by accident. It's because some people suffered. 12 million people over 12 million people were kidnapped from their homes on the continent of Africa and brought to these shores, and 4 million to Brazil, over 200,000+ here to the United States of America. And it is to remember that journey of the first, the middle passage, the enslavement of our ancestors, the trials and tribulations, all the way from sharecropping and through sharecropping to lynchings. And it is to remember whose we are and where we've come from, and that if it was not for their faith and their sacrifice, they did not want to be martyrs. They did not want to be sacrificial lambs on the altar of justice, and yet that is what they became in order for us to get to the place that we are. And so it's a tool of remembrance in addition to celebration of our spirit and our resilience.
Yeah, man, continue to embrace your African heritage. Wear what you want to wear, Doc. You know what I mean? It makes a statement. Now let me mention this. Let's talk about the people. We hear that often, man. The people, and that's what you hear. Service, right? It was Marion Wright Edelman, I think, who said service is the rent we pay for living, right? And that, and that's something we should do in our spare time. I believe let me put some respect on it, Dr. Marion Wright Edelman. She said that, and you all about the service. So let's talk about the people. You're 28, right? And
yes, sir.
And you've shown to be a man of the people. Representative Pearson, you're speaking truth to power, and you're advocating on behalf of the people for the community you represent in Memphis, right? District 86, and you're also the Millington area, right?
That's right. It goes all the way up from Bachtown up to the Millington area.
Yeah. So what can they look forward to from you as you continue to climb the political ranks and you rise, man, in prominence?
Everything that we do is in service to District 86. We have to have some laws on the books that changes who gets access to these guns. We have to have laws on the books to prevent people who currently have guns from using them, which might mean we need to spend some resources on mental health services. We need to spend some resources on violence prevention efforts. We need to have an office of violence prevention in our county and in our city. I believe part of this service is going to be to continue to lift up the issues that matter in our communities as well, such as environmental racism. We've got sterilization services of Tennessee on Florida Street causing cancer to over 80% of those residents. It is always to elevate the issues that our community is suffering from, and to offer solutions, and to offer the ability to convene people who we know have solutions. I'm not as egotistical enough to think that Justin J. Pearson has all the answers. That's just not true. Right. What I know to be true is that when you bring people together and you focus in on the issues that you're trying to solve, that you come up with the best solutions. And those are diverse communities that are focused on really doing the work of solving a problem. And in Memphis and in Shelby County and in the state of Tennessee and across this country, I believe there are enough experts out here who can help us to solve the problems that we have, because everything that we have done up to this point has gotten us to this point. And so we've got to stop doing some things and start doing some new things, different things, if we're going to create the communities where we all actually do feel safe and we feel like everybody's getting the support that they need and that they deserve in an equitable way.
All right. Justin Pearson, Representative Pearson, I've got my intern in here, kind of watching, listening, and an intern wants to ask a question. One of my interns, in fact, let me put a mic on him. He has a question for you. Devin Emery, what's up?
Good morning, Representative Pearson. My name is Devin Emery, and I had a question for you. I know you're 28 years old. This is a rock star year for you, first year in the House of Representatives in Tennessee. And I've been seeing you in the lane of like advocacy and activism. But in this rock star year, you're part of this Tennessee 3 now. What's next for you in your political agenda? What can the people look forward to from your career?
Yeah. Well, Devin, one, congratulations on your internship, and thank you for having the courage to ask a question live on the air. For myself, for members of the Tennessee 3, we are going to continue to push this issue as it relates to gun reform. In the next week, you'll probably see over 15 bills filed by myself, Representative Jones, related specifically to this. And we're going to ask Gloria, Representative Johnson has had some legislation previously that she put up on this issue that was voted down by the Republican supermajority. And so now we're hopeful that in this environment where people are protesting and people are raising their voice, and you have signals from the governor of a willingness to do something, that in this moment we will be able to see more legislation come forward. And so you can look forward to that. There's also been a demand for the Speaker of the House to resign from his position. He is not being of service to the House or to the 7 million Tennesseans who he's supposed to be ensuring he represents, because he's doing things that are anti-democratic and truly is not running and being a part of a democracy, but really seeking to rule a mobocracy that expelled members of the House because we spoke out against gun violence, that forced members, forced all of the members of the Republican Party to vote against the First Amendment and vote against the constituents in our own communities who are begging for us to do something. We're in a really important time for the retaining of our beliefs about democracy, and also we're in a really important time in our fight to end gun violence, and we can't stop now.
All right. Devin,
and I will tell you this, Devin.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
It's going to be.
All right.
I'm sorry. Let me just say one more thing.
Sure.
I will tell you this: it's going to be young people who remain consistently and persistently engaged in this movement that is going to push it forward. It's going to be 18-year-olds, 20-somethings in particular, who really, 12-year-olds who really do not give in and do not give up on this issue that's going to push Tennessee forward.
All right. Okay, we got to take a quick break, and I promise I'll let you go, Representative. You're rolling. We've talked about a lot of issues. We're getting answers, from you, and we appreciate you've been so gracious as to give us your time as we're in 45 minutes into this interview, and I appreciate that. So I'm gonna take a break. I gotta take a break so I can get a check on the 15th of the month. So we got to pay these bills through commercials. Hang on. We're talking to State Representative Justin J. Pearson this morning at Stan's Special People Spotlight on WDIA. That's right, and we are still Goodwill. Don't play with it. The Stan's Special People Spotlight. Certainly, I hope you've been listening to the broadcast this morning. If you are just joining us, we're talking with Tennessee House of Representatives. My man, Justin J. Pearson. Now, let me set the tone again. I know we're kind of like in the waning moments of the feature, but it was in April this month. 2 Democratic members of the Tennessee House of Representatives, Justin Pearson and Justin Jones, who are both black, were expelled for supporting gun control protesters following the March 27 murder of 3 students and 3 staff members at the Nashville school. However, we mentioned this early on. That their colleague, Gloria Johnson, who is a 60-year-old white woman, retained her seat, and it quickly became evident that Pearson and Jones were kicked out due to the color of their skin. But then we heard Representative Johnson is kind of like, part of the Tennessee Three, and she mentioned the look. She just laid it out there, man. It just laid it out there. But what I like about what has transpired in all of this, they have seemed to all still come together. Representative Pearson, you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, did I kind of espouse that okay? It's kind of setting that up?
That was perfect.
All right, now here's what.
Perfect.
Thank you for being with us, and I know your time is precious, so we're going to get right back to it. Again, thank you for entertaining the questions and this kind of thing. I hope I haven't thrown you off guard, but I know that's hard to do anyway. But I hope I haven't, thrown anything to you that you say, off, that kind of thing. But I do want to talk about during that commercial break. I'd like to be transparent. Now I was able to pull up, and I would like for you to speak on this. My intern gave me, he let me hear this audio recording of the Republican Party, some members of the House, right, talking about the Tennessee Three, but I think it was like a closed meeting. And somehow this audio recording has surfaced. Some folks have it, some don't, but it's like an inside of what really goes on, behind closed doors. Are you familiar with this audio recording?
Yes, I believe it was published by the Tennessee Holler, and it speaks about a lot of the powerful people in the Republican Party.
Wow.
Talking about their process for expulsion after the vote had happened, because in particular one of their members who voted not to expel Representative Johnson was being berated by his own party for that decision.
And man, and when you finally got your hands on it, what went through your mind, instantly? Yeah,
I think I encourage everyone to go and listen to this video. You hear the chair of the Republican Party, William Lambert, on the video, the same person who told me our house is about debate and it's about conversation and things like that, saying, he had a full expectation that members were going to vote along party lines. It proves that this entire process was anti-democratic. It proves this entire process was unconstitutional. And it proves what my fiancée Oshanae says. They had their minds made up before they'd heard any of our testimony, before they heard anything that we were going to say. And they were willing to ignore the thousands of children and people who marched protesting in gun violence, ignore the tens of thousands of people we represent, and sought to disenfranchise them. As one person said, no matter what, they were ready to expel all three of us, no matter what. And they're advocating that they use their supermajority to vote for gun laws, no matter what, to vote against pronoun laws, no matter what. It's a really mean-spirited conversation. And you even have one person that says, even if you think it's wrong, you still need to vote the right way, which is along party lines.
Yeah. Man, wow. I know you play that thing back. I know you had to play it over and over and over, like, what? But it doesn't surprise you, I guess. But, man.
It is not surprising. It is not surprising because this is the culture of the Republican Party in the state of Tennessee. And we all need to be concerned because this is the erosion of our democracy.
Yeah. And you know what? Is there any way I guess everyone else can get a hold of this, or if they want to hear it, or is it out there now?
Yeah, I would definitely encourage people. It's on Twitter. If you look up TN Holler, the TN.
Okay.
Just make sure it's on here. But Tennessee Holler is the one who's doing this.
Yeah. Okay. My intern you got it.
Okay.
Okay. Intern has raised his hand like a nice schoolboy. You got
it.
Okay. You got anything else? You sure? Okay, so make sure.
Good.
You get equal opportunity in this thing. He said he's good, Representative. All right. So let me say this. We're going to close out. I heard you mention Oceana, and and you had like
Oceanae.
Is her name Oceana?
Oceanae, like ocean with the A at the end.
Oceanae. I heard you mention, and you kind of like had a smile on your face when you were mentioning like the stuff she was saying to you. Y'all seem to be a power couple. I'm just gonna put it out there. She's your fiance, future wife. Couple. Black power. I listen to you, and and she's right there by your side, man. And I think I heard you say, in the well, that is she a lawyer, or she's going to law school, or what?
Yep,
or
she's heading to law school.
Yeah.
Working on the LSAT right now, applying to law schools this fall, and hopefully we'll be in law school next year.
Isn't it good to have somebody right by your side that you can trust?
It is a blessing from God.
Other than the good
Nothing
Lord.
but God.
Yeah. And my intern put up some information about it. She currently works as a senior program manager for the Center of Court Innovation's West Coast Initiative team. That's right. And she's also on
That's correct.
on the Center for Justice.
And she's also
Innovation
chief of
website.
staff for our work too. But yeah, she does a lot in diversion programs and in the criminal justice and criminal legal field.
Mm-hmm. That's what's up. So we're going to wrap it up. I know you got other appointments. I want to just say thank you so much, all right? I appreciate you. Now, I know you got appointments to follow this. I certainly appreciate you. I want to encourage you, wish you Godspeed, his safety around, protect you, man. And I want you to continue to fight. As you said, don't quit. Don't quit. And
right.
Representative Pearson, in trying times, don't quit trying. Have a good weekend.
Amen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. God bless you. I appreciate the opportunity.
You bet. We'll see you soon. All right. So there you have it. Representative Justin J. Pearson of Memphis, District 86, and he carved out time, just about an hour, to speak with the people. I didn't want to take the calls this go around. I know many of you had a lot to say and a lot to ask, and I hope we covered just the minute portion of what was on your mind concerning this interview. I tried to conduct it. Sincerely with an informative touch. I tried to conduct it in a manner that everyone could understand. I tried to conduct it with tactfulness, and I tried to conduct it with trying to get the truth. And I really wanted to conduct it, Devin, with a sense of, how would I say, a sense of pride.
Yes, sir.
Sense of pride for the black man. So there you have it. Did not want to come across militant, did not want to come across one-sided, did not want to come across demeaning, if you will, but just wanted to get him on the radio in this moment, in this spotlight. All right, all hearts and minds clear? There you go. Stay in Special People Spotlight. Friday mornings in the 9 o'clock hour. Tennessee Representative Justin J. Pearson. Got to take a break. I'll come back, wrap it up, give you stance, and we're going to